I've been putting off doing this video for a little bit. If you're a regular on our Patreon channel, you'll know what I'm about to say, and you know I was intending on going to say it, but there never seems to be a right time, because this particular player, and you know who it is because he's mentioned in the thumbnail and in the video title, seems to produce quite a reaction from people. I find players get treated a little bit differently, put it that way. And in this instance, it's of course Said Benrahma. And what do I mean by being treated differently? Well, let's say Pablo Fornals was purchased for 24 million quid, 23, 24 million quid. I know he plays centrally, but he's someone that can play centrally or can play wide. Jarrod Bowen was, what was he, 20.5 million, something like that. Predominantly plays wide, has played centrally. An attacking player, though, let's put it that way. And Said Benrahma, I believe, was signed for 24.5 million. Again, plays wide or can play centrally and is an attacking player. However, if when a team sheet is read out, Pablo Fornals is not included, the next conversation then goes on to who's in the team. The same with Jarrod Bowen. Or if they miss 2 or 3 games, then it's absolutely fine. I'm not saying it passes without comment, but it doesn't receive the same sort of nuclear reaction. When Benrahma is not in the team, all hell breaks loose. Not from everyone, but there are a core number of very, very passionate fans who go absolutely mad whenever he's not included. Now, this is sometimes when we get used to the comments, and particularly in the build-up to matches. So it can often happen when the team sheet comes in. So West Ham could be riding high in the league, as we are, 5th, 4th, or whatever. And you'd think that David Moyes has a certain amount of credit in the bank, whereby you should just not blind trust. I'm not saying don't discuss the team sheet. But when it comes in and Benrahma's not in the team, what you get is absolute anger. And lots of it, plenty of it. And it's sort of disproportionate, and you don't see it with any other player. And I think there's 2 reasons for this reaction, by the way. I'll tell you both of them. The first one is, I believe, when he arrived, a lot of our fans already knew about him. If you follow the Premier League, you're probably aware what's going on in the Championship. We'd already been told by the manager that he was keeping his eye on that division. We knew all about, before we signed them, we knew about Bowen, we knew about Eze, we knew about Benrahma, we know about these players. And Said Benrahma comes with quite a highlight reel. Lots of tricks, lots of flicks, lots of fantastic goals. And I should probably say now, early on in the video, that I do believe that Said Benrahma is the most skillful player at West Ham. I do. But that's not the only measurement used to measure a player, basically. It's not the only barometer to measure a player. I believe he probably, when they're doing the free kick drills, I'd imagine he comes out on top. The dribbling comes out on top. I'd imagine a lot of the factors that go into being a professional footballer, a lot of those skills, Said Benrahma is right at the very, very top. However, I do believe that it is disproportionate, the reaction that Benrahma gets when he's not included in the team. So I think the highlight reel is a big part of it. People have seen this player and think, well, this guy's brilliant. Why is he not in the team? He's fantastic. He can do something. Now, I would understand the reaction a little bit more if we were down the bottom. It's not a great comparison, but I use the comparison of Carlos Tevez. I remember when we were really struggling, just before Alan Pardew got sacked, people were saying, why isn't Tevez in the team? Pardew didn't really have much of an answer because we were losing. This is slightly different. It doesn't really matter if you're a West Ham fan whether Benrahma's in the team, whether he isn't. As long as we're doing well, right? And this brings us on to the second point, and the second reason that I believe that people are more vociferous with Said Benrahma. And that is Said Benrahma's brought a lot of fans with him. The only thing I can compare it to is when Chicharito signed. Loads of Mexican fans came over. Now, obviously, we're used to a certain number of regulars on Hammer's Chat commenting on the videos. Some of you will watch whatever we produce, some of you will watch some of what we produce, and then you just get some people who just come for a reason. So I think it's fair to say there are a few people watching Said Benrahma and what he does who are Said Benrahma fans rather than West Ham fans. So I totally understand that when they go to read a team sheet and Said Benrahma is not in it, they're disappointed. But it's what tends to accompany that, and this is what I think is not doing Benrahma any favours whatsoever. Because what has been said, and what is almost always said every occasion, is, why is Benrahma not playing? He's your best player. Well, he's not. And I don't think it does him any favours whatsoever. Because Benrahma is, and some people won't like this, Benrahma is a squad player at West Ham. And as I say, that has nothing to do with my personal preference or anything like that. He just ain't one of the big hitters. He's not Mikel Antonio. He's not Declan Rice. He's not Thomas Souček. He's not Angelo Ogbonna. He just ain't. He's a squad player. There's a group who you feel who will be in the team, whatever, regardless. And then there's a group underneath. And he's in that. But I do feel the reaction is not the same. And what you get when you have this is, I'm pretty sure that when David Moyes signed Benrahma, he didn't say to him, Said, please come and sign for us, you will be our superstar player. But it's very much been treated as if Benrahma's coming to West Ham, not by everyone, by the way. I do realise there will be a number of people watching this thinking, oh, we're probably possibly aligned with the way I think, and that's fine. But there are an awful lot of people who you would think Payet was coming back, or you would think it was Mahrez, or I flippantly said Lionel Messi or something like that. But I just don't feel it's helpful, because we know a lot of these modern players are all active on social media. Well, if they're active on social media, you have to assume that if they're posting on social media, they're also probably reading social media. So there's probably a lot of players who are thinking, why is all the attention on this guy? There's so many of us who are really performing well in every single game that don't get this level of attention. And I do think it's slightly different, and I do think it's hard on him, because when you start saying that he is going to be the best player in the team, when you start expecting that, you start demanding his inclusion. Because that's what happens. Often, as I say, I feel David Moyes has built up an awful lot of credit with what he should have done with West Ham fans. Yet when he's not in the team, you'll always see the comments there. Moyes doesn't know what he's doing. Has he gone mad? This sort of thing. And I think with that comes an awful lot of pressure, because then it's built up so much expectation when he does eventually make his way onto the pitch. He's got to do quite a lot, hasn't he? And whereas you look at it in contrast, look at Souček and Soufal, for instance. Now, again, they with them have brought a certain level of national interest. So there are a lot of Czech fans, and a lot of whom will be watching this video now, and a lot of whom always comment in it. Kovo stands out in my mind. Of course, he's joined us on Talk West Ham before as well. Speaks very, very eloquently. Now, I don't ever sort of remember being told that when we were signing Souček and Soufal, that they would be our best players. You watch this, these will be your best players. It's sort of almost had to find out ourselves, really. They sort of slipped under the radar, which makes us as fans inquisitive. And then certainly in the chat, I will turn around to a lot of the Slavia Prague fans or the Czech fans and say, okay, well, tell us a little bit more about these players. The great irony is, they possibly are our two best players. And I say possibly. They're in the running. One of those two, Soufal or Souček, may well win the Hammer of the Year. So I think it's a little bit difficult when you are told Benrahma is the best player. I also think that Benrahma will come, when I say come good, it damns him with faint praise, because it goes to suggest that he's a top-level player at West Ham. He's a squad player. And I'm pretty sure David Moyes would have signed him as exactly that. This was the point I was meant to make earlier. Excuse me, I forgot. When David Moyes went to sign Tomori from Chelsea, Tomori, a good player, really good, up-and-coming player, fledgling England player, Chelsea centre-half, was available. We went to sign him on transfer deadline day. Just before he signed on the dotted line, Tomori wanted to have a word with David Moyes. Got on the phone to David Moyes and wanted Moyesy to guarantee him first-team football. Well, David Moyes said, no, I'm not willing to do that. Well, we know that's what David Moyes is like. So the disappointment with Benrahma is probably more with other people's expectations than with Benrahma. I'm pretty sure when Benrahma signed, he said to Benrahma exactly what he says in the press, which is, look, you're coming in, but there's a few things I want to work out with you. There's a few things I want you to improve at. We're going to train you at this. I'm not guaranteeing you a first-team place, but you'll be an important member of the squad. And that's what he is, an important member of the squad. But it seems that just that in itself creates abject disappointment. Why are people just disappointed that he's a good squad player? Well, I think because they expected him to be Marcus Rashford or Raheem Sterling or something like that. And he isn't. He's a player from the Championship who is trying to break into a Premier League squad. Now, don't get me wrong. When he arrives on the pitch, when he's substituted and he comes on, I think he looks exciting. I think he has plenty of tricks. I think he goes past players really easy. I think against the Tyrant defence, I think he's absolutely sensational. I think he creates space for others. He's got some assists, which again is fantastic. But it brings us to the other part of the conversation. And let me just say this. But I'm going to, in tomorrow's video, I'm going to try and speak to Luke, because I want to get some other opinions on this. Just get some different. I'm going to try and speak to Luke from the Three Hammers. I know he's a massive Said Benrahma fan. I want to speak to Tommy as well. So I'll get them involved. I'll get their opinion, because, as I say, it's a sort of subject I've put off for a little while, but it was sort of came home to roost really when I saw some of the comments in the chat. I think certainly ahead of the Tottenham game, and certainly ahead of the Man City game, which were demanding Benrahma's inclusion. And even though, as well as I feel we played in both those games, obviously one a win, one a loss, people are saying we should have played Benrahma in that. Fornell shouldn't have played. I've even seen comments, this is really one of the bigger points in it. Why is Jesse Lingard to get straight in the team, and why doesn't Benrahma? Well, I think, again, we're sort of elevating Benrahma to a status that he's just got no right to expect at the moment, because he hasn't done anything at that sort of level. Jesse Lingard has arrived at West Ham and he's hit the ground running. And I do think he's hindered a little bit of Benrahma's progression. But that's not a reason not to bring Lingard in, if you know what I mean. We can't say, we won't sign Lingard because it might hinder Said Benrahma. Said Benrahma's not 17. Okay, Said Benrahma, I think, is 25. He's something like that. He's 25 and he's cost £24 million. He should be ready to go now. But I understand that Moyes wants to nurture him and teach him a few things. Well, that's absolutely fine. And I think it's fine. As I say, I think this is probably all fine in Benrahma's mind. He probably doesn't want this drama. He's probably thinking, well, actually, these are exactly the terms on which I signed, which is to be a squad player in a Premier League team. I want to prove myself. I don't think Moyes has let him down. I don't think Moyes has backed out on promises. As I say, I think the Lingard thing is interesting. If I'm honest with myself and I'm honest with you, I do believe that had Moyes have thought he could get Lingard in the summer, I don't think Benrahma would have been signed. But that doesn't mean I think Benrahma is going to be sacrificed in the long term. No, I think it'll be Lanzini that goes. I do. Lanzini is a massive favourite of mine. I still haven't quite given hope that there's a player in there. I think there is a player there, but I haven't given up hope that he can't rekindle the magic that he used to have. However, I do think that it will be Lanzini that goes and not Benrahma. I think that Benrahma has a long-term future at West Ham. I absolutely do. But I think the Lingard factor is an interesting one. Again, that doesn't mean he doesn't feature. Benrahma will feature for West Ham. On Jesse Lingard's debut, I thought the way Lingard and Antonio and Benrahma linked up was absolutely fantastic. Good footballers like other good footballers. They know where each other are going to run. They instinctively are able to pass and know where each other are going. And I think they are two very, very good footballers. But I also think it's an unfair comparison. I also do worry that it puts an unnecessary strain on the squad relationship, that one player is lofted higher than the others or elevated by people's comments to a status that he hasn't actually achieved as yet. As I say, there are a core group of players who are undroppable. And I cringe when I read, someone always types it, I cringe when someone says, when someone says Said Benrahma is West Ham's best player. I think it's not. It's unnecessary pressure on him. It might be Declan Rice, it might be Souček, it might be Ogbonna, I don't know, but it ain't him. And that's fine, because the only person that's creating that pressure is the people making this expectation. Look, I'll be interested to see what you think in the comments below, but I do find it very, very interesting. I do find it an interesting dynamic. Fair play to Benrahma, by the way. absolutely fair play to him. It has to be said. If he carries on, he can perform with this level of pressure on him, and there's a massive expectation. He brings a following with him. It's like Ricky Hatton syndrome. Do you remember Ricky Hatton used to go and box out in the States? He'd take sort of the whole of Manchester with him and stuff like that. And I feel that with Benrahma. I feel that he's got a whole nation behind him. I just feel there's so much pressure on him. And he has to be allowed to develop at a rate of which he is accepting of and what David Moyes expects him to do. And I think there's a cracking player in there. I am aware that after this, because people do love to paraphrase, what did Tommy call it? Quote mining. I'm aware, that's why I didn't want to do this, because people will say afterwards, oh, Gonzo don't like Benrahma. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying there. As I say, I think he's our most skillful player. But it ain't just about skill. There's an awful lot of other things that go into making a football. If it was all about skill, I'll tell you now, I'll be honest, Mikel Antonio wouldn't kick a ball for West Ham. He wouldn't. He's probably the least skillful player in our whole squad. He really is. But for other reasons, he is tremendously effective. Tremendously effective. So it ain't all about that. Dawson is not a skillful footballer. It takes all sorts in this game. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Just before I go, I did want to say a massive hello to Lanzarote Hammers, who I've seen this picture. I'll pop the picture up now. Oh, that makes me jealous. That makes me really jealous. I want to go and watch a match with this mob. Maybe we'll. Hopefully in the future, once you're allowed to. I was going to say allowed to go abroad. Allowed outside my front door would be nice. I feel like a vampire at the moment. Anyway, I want to say a massive hello to everybody over there. Hope you're all keeping well. Let me know about Said Benrahma. We'll deal with it again some more tomorrow. We'll bring some other people in, get some other opinions. I'd just be very, very interested to know what some of you think. And I am expecting a completely varied response.